Welcome to What You're At To. This is a space where we talk about business, real journeys, moments that move people forward, and people who make a lasting impact because no one builds anything alone. Today, I'm joined by Taylor Brown, who found SEO. Welcome, Taylor.
Well, thank you, Marie. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, to get us started, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yes, thank you. I'd love to share more about that. So, like you said, I'm Mr. Taylor Brown, the principal of Paid Found SEO LLC. I help small and mid-sized businesses get found on Google and AI. I overview AI mode and the LLMs, ChatGPT and all those related ones. And I just love doing that, helping businesses grow organically through organic search. And I've been in SEO for 3 years total, and then out on my own for a number of months now. And I just really love doing it. I've had the pleasure of working with a variety of different clients, both B2B and B2C. So B2C retail, B2C creative services, B2C professional services, and B2B professional services and financial services. So I have a whole gamut of all these different clients, and it's been really enjoyable to help them and notice the differences between B2C and B2B and digital consulting that I work with. Um, so that's me. I'm self-taught. I have a general background in business, business degree, but I just really was drawn to the idea of driving revenue through the website. I did some programming a little bit and was getting inching forward towards the digital space, what's happening. And from there, I was in this boot camp, e-commerce marketing boot camp. We built a Shopify store, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And then they said, well, you built this Shopify store, how could they drive traffic to it? If it's not found, it's just, on a desert island, basically. And so I was like, what's that? What's SEO? And then I got hooked, and I just did as many, courses and self learning as I possibly could. And then the funny thing about this whole journey, which is very encouraging, and I hope other listeners take encouragement from this, that you can literally start from nothing and learn something and change your life and just be blessed beyond measure. Um, so when I moved to Nashville 3 years ago, three and change, I was looking for a change. I was ready to just start completely over. New friend group, new life, new business, everything. And my dad had a opportunity to transfer down here with his current company. He's in finance. And I said, okay, I want to come with you. And they offered, and I took him up on it, and a whole new world. And it was amazing. I just love living in Nashville and the Southern hospitality and the Southern culture and the sweetness of it. And it's just a really great place to do business. Very, very good place to do business. And the
Yes, I'd
clients
agree with
here.
that. Yes.
So I did a very first freelance work that was very, very small, but nonetheless, it was the trickle and it was the beginning of it all. And so I did that, and then I kept learning and learning and learning and freelance and project work. And then I got a full-time job at an agency in Nashville, and then I learned a lot from that job, and I departed to because of the particular industry and everything, but I kept learning and kept going. And once I got my first client ranking number one on Google, I knew, okay, I can sell this for myself. I don't need to necessarily work for someone else.
Would
So I
you, can
did
I,
that, and here we are. And it's just been a wonderful journey for me.
can I ask you, is that like your defining moment when your client was first on Google, where you like, this is it, this is for me?
That was really, yeah, I would say pivotal and amazing and so encouraging to me, because you know that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the visibility, enhancing the brand visibility, getting found, driving revenue, the funnel. And I was just so excited that I was able to do that for myself. And so that was, you know, being able to know that is the key to all of this. So success begets success. And I think that, to anyone out there who thinks I'd like to get into digital marketing or SEO and freelance or consulting, you can do it. You can do it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of sacrifice. You have to stick with it. It is not something that you can just throw together real fast. For me, it was a 3-year journey to go from I don't even know what this is to, okay, now I have delivered real results for clients and I'm getting my own clients. I'm working in my own business development to attain more clients. I don't know what the future will hold. I am working with professional services and financial services, like I said. So I may niche down or I may not, but right now it's open to the clients that are, well, I kind of have a general process to screen really great clients that I want to work with, because I want to work with great people and I know they're out there, and it's just been so joyful and fulfilling to work with those great clients. So, my best clients, they really see the value in it. They want to invest in it. They have some budget. uh, and then, you know, AI and AI search landscape is changing so much that, I want to be able to work with the client and help me help you to get your goals of, as this changes, as this evolves, if something were to change, okay, well, let's work through that and why. Because my best clients definitely ask why. They like, why are we doing it this way? And are being able to articulate that as best I can to provide the value to them. So that's really been a great area of growth for me, is if you need to be able to explain the why and the critical thinking. And I heard recently too from a big name in the SEO space of applying critical thinking to SEO. There's so much information out there, and you got to be able to sift it from, fact or fiction, and claims out there that are just out to lunch wrong.
Yeah.
SEO is dead. No, it's not. It's
Yeah.
alive and well, and you're adding to it. And I'm constantly trying to learn and stay current, because that's the job as the consultant. And then appreciative is just, great to work with. And I'm very fortunate that my clients are all of those things.
Yeah, that's so interesting that something you said about uh, what's true and what's not true. And in marketing, people are saying this is about SEO, this is not, and you having to sift through to figure out what that is. Do you have a process of doing that? Or do you just use your resources, test things, and figure it out? Like, you know what really works.
Yeah, I have a general process. I like to really keep a pulse on the best people, and I research, watch their content, and I have a way of organizing and capturing that information, because that's the biggest thing is in consulting. I've heard you want to capture, execute, communicate. You have to capture all this information. How do we synthesize it? And good, based on my research, I'm pleased to say, okay, if there's some synthesis here and corroboration between these people saying, yeah, this is the general consensus on this issue, then that's helpful. And also, I guess when it comes to testing, I'm very test driven. Test it, try it. And for example, I worked with a B2B, one of my B2B clients. I brought something to their attention very respectfully. And I said, hey, there's something to think about with XYZ if we do this on this page. And so now that's back to the coachability part of, if we do X, we have to see how it plays out and work with the information that we're given. So, it is data driven, the data of what is happening, and we, test and adapt. I heard someone say that marketers are scientists who sell things, and I love that because
Yeah.
we do want to think of it that way, not just guessing. What is the information telling us, and how can we synthesize and adapt and grow for every client? And I learn things every single client. I'm
Mhm.
always learning new things, whether I be on the actual consulting of the nitty gritty or on the client side, because as a independent consultant, I have to do it all. I have to do my own business development. I have to do my own client service, my own billing. I know that's mundane, but it's true. I have to do all of it. And there's just so many skills involved with this. And I'm fortunate to be very blessed to have trusted, you know, people in my network and business partner and all of that. But it can be overwhelming when you're trying to put all this together. It's one thing to know how to do something, and that's critically important. That's what you're selling. That's what you're the service and consulting you're providing. But then there's all these other soft and different skills that are required. And yeah, so I just love putting it all together and doing it. And it's not for the faint of heart. You have to be really strong as a independent consultant. You're putting your work out there, you're getting your own clients, you're managing everything. So you have to grow with the evolution and the changes that happen.
Yeah. I think this is a common comment from entrepreneurs of that this is you've got to do it all and know a little bit of everything and know how to work with resources to be able to get this off the ground. Is there a particular time, maybe the hardest part for you of building a business?
Hmm. Hardest part. Well, I think one of the um, realities of having your own business is getting your own clients, and that has been a really
Mhm.
interesting and good experience for me to learn keep on trying, because there's so many different ways to get a client. And I was encouraged, and I do think that this is the right thing to do. My B2B client that I really love working with was in town from somewhere else. And I'm like, I was encouraged, you should grab coffee with the client, talk to the client, talk to the client. And it didn't matter that, I drove long to get to the 30-minute coffee meeting.
Yeah.
It's maintaining and building that relationship, because I've heard that, you get one client at a time and then you can lose them all at once, depending on how things go. And I know how important it is to maintain that relationship. So I think that one of the hardest things is getting new clients, cultivating those relationships, maintaining those relationships, keeping those clients, on top of not losing, the phrase of don't lose the forest from the trees. I'm doing all this work, but I have to think higher level of client service to
Right.
have that growing. And it takes, I have heard that it takes, 2 to 3 years to
Mm.
really have something sustainable. So, okay, where am I now? Okay, I started out, I didn't know anything. Now I'm doing my own thing. So I am still in the growth building, you know, chrysalis of a butterfly, trying to become a butterfly, and it's going that direction, and it's, up on the upswing, and I'm excited and grateful and humbled. Uh, but I would say all of those soft skills, selling, professional selling, because that's what we're doing. We are professionally selling our services, and there's so much information about there, um, and you have to kind of, again, like with anything, think critically, think for yourself, and try to apply it that makes sense for you and your business. And for me, everybody becomes an entrepreneur for different reasons. And for me, it was honestly out of necessity,
Mm.
and it just blossoming that way. I mean, I'm pleased to say that I didn't decide to be an entrepreneur. I didn't say, yes, I'm going to start my own company and do that. It just evolved and just happened that way of this is the path that is clicking and working.
So I love that. So can we go back and sort of the time period of your life where all of this started to evolve? You know, like how what happened, what happened to eventually lead you to entrepreneurship at the very beginning?
My life. Oh, well, I'm very fortunate to have an amazing, amazing, loving family that's just so supportive and just great. And I think it's through trials and suffering and learning from those experiences. You know, it's kind of funny. I took this is may seem not quite relevant, but it is. Took violin lessons as a kid, and I was really, really into it. I really love that art form, and I just love it. And it's so beautiful and moving and difficult. And I practiced a lot. I was really into it. I thought I wanted to be a concert violinist, and as you can see, I'm not a concert violinist. I'm not, traveling the world or in an orchestra somewhere. Even though
You're going to have to hear you play violin at some point now, though.
I know it's been a long time, it's been a number of years, and it's a perishable skill, but we'll see. But the skills reflecting on that, what did I learn by taking something to such a high level? Delaying gratification, sticking to something over a long period of time when it gets hard, appreciation of the arts, creativity, communication. If you're in a string quartet, then you have to work on collaboration and working with other people. And when you're in an orchestra, you have multiple stakeholders. You have the conductor, you have the principal, and I served as the little concert master of the youth orchestra for whatever it was, and had a little solo and everything. And it was really cool. But that those skills that I learned, I do think are transferable over to anything that you do. Work hard, try to find something that you are good at, that you enjoy doing, that is economically viable. That's part of it. It's not the only thing, but it's part of it. Absolutely. Is this economically viable? No. Okay, find something else that's economically viable, and apply those skills of delayed gratification and critical thinking and creativity. So that was a big one for me. I do think those skills have carried me forward. Yeah. And I studied business in college, so I learned a lot about micro, macro, and all the stuff. Of course, being a doctorate of business administration, you understand that, and higher education and all that good stuff. So I learned a lot, and I was very fortunate to do that. And then, I graduated college right at the height of the pandemic, so it was kind of a mess. It was very, very bad. It was very tough job market, and so I kept learning skills, worked some other jobs, and that was I think the aha moment for our family and for me was, okay, I need to change. I need to just completely transform this life that I have and walk forward. And once that opportunity came to move to Nashville, I said, well, okay, this is great. And like I said, Nashville being a booming economy, it is the place to be in terms of entrepreneurship. And there's so much great opportunities. I haven't been there in a while, but I know the Nashville Entrepreneurship Center is hopping and bopping, and people do things there. There's lots of opportunities to network. There's lots of opportunity to meet other professionals in all different kinds of industries. And so that's been really good. But I think it's a combination of factors that kind of formed my story. My story is just how it unfolded. And I know that people who want to be entrepreneurs wait, and it can unfold over many years, over a long period of time. I don't think it's a quick fix. And we also have to be humble, knowing that you may not get everything that you want, but you're working towards, like, what's your why? why do you want to start this business? And you have to really drill deep into that. And for me, my why is uh, the ability to create something for myself that works for me and my how I'm made,
Mm.
how I'm made. And I think that that's the most beautiful thing.
You're living out your purpose, finding.
Yes, I am living out my purpose, and I know I ultimately know where my purpose comes from, and helping other people. It's That's the biggest thing. Is can you get into something that's helping other people, and let's not lose sight of that. With SEO, you are helping people. You are helping them get found. You're enhancing their brand. It is a helping positive thing of, yeah, we're investing in something that can better our business.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's been really fun for me,
Yeah,
enjoyable.
it flows all the way through. You know, you're helping with SEO, which gives them more business, which helps them to employ people and gives those people better lives. Like it sort of flows all the way through from something that you're doing.
Oh yeah, it trickles through. I mean, top line revenue, it really does trickle through. And I think that I just like being part of something good and positive. And, and the strategy has been interesting for me and really great to think through. Okay, like I said previously about, the why, this is the strategy to XYZ. This is why we focus on the funnel and we focus on the particular way that we're creating these um, landing pages and articles. And it's not, without giving away my secret sauce, I will say that it's not writing for the sake of writing. It's writing for a purpose. It's writing for the sale. It's writing for the driving of the revenue. So I really do try to differentiate myself as best I can that I'm business focused. Okay, what are these business owners, directors of marketing, and uh, other stakeholders that would invest in a project like this care about?
Yeah.
You have to think about it in their point of view. And so, for example, my B2B client, professional services and financial services, put it in the context of, okay, you're spending X. What do you get and receive for that and the value? And pricing is, without getting into my pricing, I will say that that's another thing is you have to be flexible. You just have to be really flexible as an entrepreneur of what is the market telling you and what types of clients can you get, and what are they willing to invest, and you have to adapt to the market forces and be resilient that way.
Yeah, probably also as you're figuring out your own niche, who is your client and who are you looking for that wants your service and not even just a service, but I think there's a personality thing there too.
Oh, you
Like who,
know I'm
who
so
wants,
glad you bring that up, because
yeah.
that's so true. you know I have heard that people want to do business with people that they like,
Mhm.
and it's true. And I'm a particular way. I'm generally I try to be positive, sweet, smiley, affirming, generally easygoing. I'm pretty, that's what I try to do. My goal in life is to, just my mom always says, just be sweet. I'm like, okay, be sweet, be nice, be kind, be affirming. Um, but yeah, the personality, you get a vibe, and it's okay if, when you're in a negotiation and you have two parties coming together, they do have to gel in terms of preferences and communication, and that's okay if, you know like what I said earlier about MQCA, motivated, qualified, coachable, appreciative. The appreciative part is kind of a catch-all for, do we get along? It is. Do I get along with them? Do they like me?
Yes,
Is it
it's
going to
important.
work?
Yeah, important. The people relationship part is sometimes I think not emphasized enough in partnerships and business and finding clients and working with clients. And it is how do we work together? It's huge.
Oh, it's actually, I'm so glad you brought that up. Like I said, it's just it's one of the most important things. They could
Mhm.
have all the money in the world, they could have all the motivation, they could have everything and check all the other boxes. But if we are like trying to work together, um, that's really what it comes down to: keeping a client, engaging a client, and maintaining it. Because, I mean, it's factual. We're working with people, other people. And, you know, in the words of the one of the best sales people out there, Ryan Serhant, I follow his stuff on YouTube, and he is just enormously successful at selling real estate in New York City. People don't want to be sold, but they love shopping with friends.
Mhm.
So I don't want to be hard sales, buy this from me, buy this from me, buy this from me. They have to connect and feel, okay, I trust this person, I like this person, they do, we align. um, can I see myself working with this person? Yeah, I mean, I'm not a W-2, but that's the type of things that you're doing when you're interviewing for a job at an organization. Is, do they align with the hiring manager? It's similar but not identical, but we're coming together. Can we work together? And um, yeah, I really do look for that. And it's been interesting to see how I do stick to my preferences, and I'm in the growth stage of my business. So I want to try to talk to as many people as I can. And that's another thing too, is I've learned over those processes, you may put a proposal out, but that may not come to fruition. So that's the other thing that you aspiring entrepreneurs need to wrestle with and get to peace with, is you're going to have fits and starts, hits and misses. You're going to think, wow, I thought this was a slam dunk, and it totally wasn't. And something changed. And you learn through each of those pieces. So you can't be rigid about it. You may have a general framework of, okay, I think this could turn into something, but I'm actually reminding myself as I communicate this to you, I'm reminding myself every day I have to remember this and know this, go through the process and
Yeah.
trust the process.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest challenges of entrepreneurship because when you're trying to grow something, especially in the phase that you're in, that everything matters. Every call matters. Every potential customer matters. And then when you lose one or you don't get that person, it's really, really. But then you also have wins. When you do have a customer on board, it's a bigger deal.
Yeah, and I think that's my biggest encouragement. Again, I'm preaching to myself. You know, you have to hold it loosely and be resilient and recognize, okay, what can I learn from this experience, and keep on getting out there. I think, to all the inspiring entrepreneurs out there, keep at it. It's hard. It's a long process. You got to be in it to win it for the long term. And yes, business development is one of those really value added skills that is a whole thing of its own. And then, we have the project management, and then the client service, and then actually delivering. And like I said earlier, putting it all together, wearing many hats, it grows you. It really does force you to develop those skills because you have to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, you've mentioned a couple times the long process, which I think is a fantastic reflective point. How do you keep yourself going? And is it what you expected it to be in the early days?
How do I keep myself going? Well, I think as I work through that, I really do think it has to go back to your why. And you need to surround yourself with people that support you in your mission.
Mhm.
Uh, there's a phrase: you are who you are. Who you hang out with is who you become in 5 years. Okay, stay connected to the entrepreneurs that are sticking with it. And I'll have to think about that. I might even join an entrepreneurship support group, because I've heard of those. And frankly, that's awesome, because it is whole lot more than you expected. So what keeps me grounded is my why and surrounding myself with people who really support and love me for me. Um, and then was it is what it is it what I expected? I think that's a really interesting question. I'll have to think more about that, but I it's certainly more than I expected. It is more involved, more work, more emotional investment.
Mhm.
You're emotionally invested in your business.
Yes.
And that is the skill that we have to reflect, take it out, and demonstrate, work through that, because that's the biggest number one thing is emotional investment. And how do you deal with the twists, turns, ups,
Yes.
downs, curveballs, things not going your way? That's the number one thing is are you able to be resilient in it not going the way you want? That's the biggest thing. It's easy to be, yeah, I have a client, it's great, it's awesome. Or I don't have everything that I want right now. I'm always looking to grow. But how do you frame that in a psychologically healthy way to do that? And I mean, this is kind of like, business coaching therapy right now. I mean, it's like, well, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's a whole other ball game to do it. To talking about it is one thing,
Yes.
but doing it is another. And that is different than, you know, I guess what I expected in terms
Yeah.
of, you know, in theory, it's X. In practice, it's Y or Z or A. I mean, you have
Yeah.
to literally roll with the punches.
I would 1,000% agree with that. I think that the emotional roller coaster ride that is entrepreneurship is something that when you first get started, you don't realize what that's
Mm-mm.
going.
No, it's absolutely not at all. That for all the inspiring entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs out there, buckle up, because it will test you, it will grow you, it will, sharpen your ability to be humble.
Mm-hmm.
I think you
Yep.
really, that's the biggest thing, is be humble and be thankful and grateful, and surround yourself with people who love you and walk through it. And again, everybody's why for entrepreneurship is different. My why, is it building something that I can sell? Not necessarily. Is it something else? So you have to be really crystal clear on, why am I starting this business? Why am I taking on this risk? Why am I willfully choosing to take on all of the emotional stress that it is to do it? And I'm very blessed and fortunate to be in a position where I can take this risk. And like I said, that my story has led to this, and I know that it's right for me, and it's not right for everybody. So I want to put that out there too, that you really need to look at your situation critically, and, opportunity cost, trade off. If you're in a situation that, oh gosh, I have children, I have this obligation, I have that obligation, and it's just not right, that's okay too. But you have to look at the whole picture. And the picture came clear for me that this was the right thing, regardless of how it turns out, for me and my personality and interests and skill set. And um, yeah, that's the number one thing, is creating the life that works for me and how I am made. And I'm unique, and I know that I'm a very unique person, and you probably have surmised that by communicating with me. But I I like being able to create the environment. And I primarily work remotely, so I do have clients here in Nashville, but I work remotely. So been a really wonderful benefit, is that, like what I said about when I'm screening clients, if they're ready to go and they want to do it, it doesn't really matter where they're located, pretty much.
Right. Right. So if you could go back and give yourself advice at the very beginning, what
I would say be kind to yourself.
would
Be kind to yourself. Uh, it's okay. It is
yeah,
okay that you're in this growth phase. It is okay what you're doing. And you have to be okay with and be thankful. Be kind to yourself. You know, you're not any less than by creating something for yourself that is different than,
yeah,
you know, what other people are doing. And you have to keep the blinders on. Really, really don't compare yourself to other people. I know how hard that is. I know how hard it is because I'm a human. We're human. We're sort of, peers and whatnot, and this person, that person. The number one thing is tune out the noise, and stay true to your purpose.
yeah. I believe that very much so. I think that we all are special in our own way, and we're here to do something, and especially when you find it and you know what that is, 100%, you're going 100% towards that
Yeah,
because it's what makes that's what you're meant to
yeah. We are made to work and help other people and
do.
serve and all of those things. And well, that's right. I am living out my purpose,
Mhm.
and so that's the biggest thing, is remind yourself of the bigger purpose. Why are we working? Why are we keeping? Why are we helping? Why are we serving? Why are we investing in business relationships and interpersonal relationships and all of that? Let's keep the bigger idea here as we go through the changes. So I want to link back to this. So in my tell me about yourself, I mentioned Edwin. So I want to just segue this in on the Alley Oop podcast. Is that when I first moved here, he met me for coffee. I knew nothing about nothing. He graciously generated his time, gave his time, and I asked questions. I was learning. I was developing. Honestly, I had really, looking back, really no business talking. I mean, it was a great way to get started, but I knew nothing. I was not prepared to actually start in marketing. But he met with me, and we have this very special relationship all these years later. And I just spoke with him, recently. And so I got to catch up with him and see how he's doing and how much he has invested in other people. He has not only helped me, he's helped other people. And it's just, that's my alley oop, is coming into contact with someone like him who's so invested in helping other people grow.
That's awesome. It sounds like he's a very giving person and has
Oh, incredibly giving,
impact.
incredibly brilliant. He's super smart. He he just is that way. And I think I know too that if I have an opportunity to pay it forward to someone who wants to learn and wants to grow and is thinking about SEO or digital marketing or entrepreneurship or a combination thereof, I would want to give back too, and just give that opportunity. Because you're right, we all come from somewhere. When we start a business, there are people in your life that are part of that fabric, and acknowledge them. Okay, I acknowledge my family. I acknowledge Edwin. I acknowledge the Nashville marketing community. I acknowledge all of the um, clients, those first clients that I had that were incredibly important to my development. And it's like, hey, you know, thank you so much. This is happening. So, and I have to say too that that's probably the hardest thing about entrepreneurship is, okay, let's say you know how to do something, SEO consulting, anything. Uh, how do you gain experience without experience? Well, you have to do projects. And how do you get projects? You have to do this. So it's the chicken and the egg, and the egg issue. But once you get past that, you have to work through it.
Yeah.
Uh, it can be very helpful on the other side. It can be, but
Yeah.
so that was the biggest thing, is having those clients, being able to communicate that, and I think selling as well. when you're communicating how do your services benefit the organization, um, it really is about them and listening and uh, seeing how you're aligned that way. So it's all fits together in your story, and everybody's unique. And I've heard that you want to lean into your uniqueness, and I do agree with that. Lean into your story, lean into your uniqueness, lean into what makes you you. My story is totally different than someone else's, and communicate that, share that. I'm so blessed and fortunate to be on this podcast. I didn't even think of, oh, podcast. Oh, what do I do with that? What do I say? How do I do this? And it's like, no, it's sharing and giving. And I think the listeners out there, I just want to encourage them that, you know, I kind of honestly duct tape and wire hangers for me. I mean, I mean, it's just like, here we go. That's what it was. And if you feel like you're duct tape and wire hangers and just putting something together, great.
Well, I totally agree, and I feel blessed and fortunate to have had you on today, Taylor. I think it's been awesome. I love your story. I think it's exciting what you're doing. I can't wait till we talk again in the future and hear all the success that you're having. And at that time, we'll have some violin too.
Oh,
So
well,
give me a heads
it's
up.
been a number of years, but maybe I can whip out a twinkle twinkle or something. I don't know. I,
Yeah,
I won't be I won't be doing any of the hard stuff. It's really overwhelming, but yeah,
yeah,
maybe we'll see.
something, a little bit of something.
Something, I don't know, a hymn or something. I don't know,
Yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah.
But it
Well,
was it was really lovely chatting with you, and I appreciate you having me on the show. And um, yeah, that's my alley oop is Edwin.
awesome. Well, I love it. And to close us out, I'll just mention that I think one of the most powerful reminders for conversations like this is that success is rarely a straight line, and none of us builds alone. So, to everyone listening, thank you for joining us on another episode of Picture Out You, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Marie. Have a great day.
You too.